So here at level 3 in the Goodfoot Quest leading the performing team, we're going to ask ourselves, well, okay, we understand the qualities of a leader. How do we communicate those qualities? How do we persuade others that we have these qualities so that they will want to follow us? So let's have a quick look and see if there's a way that we can do this. We're aware from Coutts and Posner that the 4 qualities are competence, forward-looking, honesty, and inspiring. We need some ways that we can persuade others that we are these things so that people believe us. We can be competent, but of course, people may not see it. We could be honest, but people may not see it. And that happened to me in one role. I told 2 people two different things in the team. That was my mistake. The 2 different things were the truth. They were 2 different subjects, but they got together and of course they said, well, he didn't tell me that. He told me something else. And it was perceived that honesty was lower for me than I wanted it to be. I was telling the truth, but I was telling 2 different things to 2 different people. Therefore, 2 different subjects. Therefore, they got together and of course came to that conclusion. And we talked about it and resolved it later on. But it is okay to be honest, but it's more difficult to persuade others that we are honest. It's okay to be inspiring and to persuade others that we're inspiring, and forward-looking too. How do we do it? Here we go. For competence, here's the suggestion. People see us as competence when we talk about a process that we're going to take the team through, the project through, and what we need to go through, who we need to talk to, what needs to be done, and when it needs to be done. In other words, a planning overview, a process to work through so that we can reach the goal even if we don't know the details. And the greatest test of competence is this: you're asked a question, you don't know the answer, and your response is, I don't know the answer, but these are the steps we're going to go through, and this is how we're going to get the answer. And that raises your competence level above and beyond, because you know what you're going to do. That's the basis of competence, having a process to go through. Onto honesty. I thought we were going to go to forward-looking there. I'm just jumping to honesty. How do we persuade others that we're honest? Now, the thing to avoid here is probably the phrase, to be honest, or I'm telling you the truth, because it sets up a negative reaction. Why do you need to say that? Be open about your strengths and weaknesses and about your workload. That's the basis for honesty. When I say to you, look, I'm really good at the planning stage, I'm not too good at risk management. Martin or Martine, can you help me with the risk management? You are perceived as honest because you're disclosing a weakness. You're disclosing your workload, what you do, what you're not so good at, and what you want to help with. That's the basis of honesty, rather than telling everybody that everything is great. And saying to people, look, I'm going to tell you the truth here. If it's only positive stuff, people are suspicious. Admit a weakness now and then. And now on to forward-looking, because I jumped there too early, didn't I? With forward-looking, talk about the future. That's all there is to it. If you're in a meeting, and in the meeting they're talking about next week, well, you talk about next month. If they're talking about next month, you talk about the next 3 months. Always push further than the conversation is going into talking about the future. And you can talk about risks in the future, possibilities and opportunities in the future. But the more you talk about the future slightly further ahead than the rest of the people are doing, you will be seen to be looking forward and looking to the future. And inspiring, probably the hardest. How do we do this one? Well, you'll be delighted to know we don't have to be a film star. We don't have to be a charismatic personality at all. This is the trick. These are the clues to be inspiring. Describe a good future. We've covered that in the previous level, but the most inspiring thing we can do with others is listen. Is ask them, look, how do you see this? What is your experience? What do you anticipate? What do you advise? People love to be asked what their view is. They love to be held to be important enough to ask, what do you think? Even if you know what the answer is, ask people what they think. Why? Because it's inspiring to be asked. And then, of course, when they give you what they think, engage in the conversation with them about what they think. Again, even if you know the answer, it's worth asking, what do you think? That tends to build an image in you of being inspiring. So there are some thoughts there about how to display and communicate the 4 key qualities of leadership.